Hey there, everybody. Thanks for joining me for another one-man review. Today I'm going to continue on with the massive load of books that I picked up in Fantagraphics Fanabuck sale. I pre-ordered everything that I want from them for the rest of the year and then cashed in the the gift cards for a whole load of books. So today I'm going to be looking at Happy Hour in America by Tim Lane, Volume 2, Issues 1 and 2. I've been reading some of Tim Lane's other work that I picked up in the Fanabuck sale as well, The Lonesome Go and Toy Box Americana. I really want to talk with Sean about The Lonesome Go. I want to give that a really good in-depth analysis because I think Tim Lane's doing a lot of very interesting stuff. And the Toy Box Americana, I'm still working my way through in small snippets. But he has a very consistent vision throughout his work. I think if you've ever read any of his work, you understand what it is. Like it says here, that he's exploring the great American mythological drama, and he's doing exactly what he set out to do, and he's doing it about as well as I can imagine. Especially because, mid 1900s Americana nostalgia is like just not my vibe. But I really enjoy these books. Like the covers on these are very Thomas Hart Benton, like these flowy, swirly things. So it has American regionalism. It's like dripping in that. I mean, he really understands what he's doing very well, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate his style of like these books have the same thing as his other books that I've read. Is it's a bunch of short stories, short snippets. Even if they're interlocked, they kind of get jumbled up and it's not linear, and I appreciate that about what he does. That's something that I've been thinking about a lot, and that's part of what I want to talk to Sean about. So you'll get like a little one-page thing here, and then like half the book is another story, and half the book's another one. You get these very heavily designed pieces here, which seem like it should be some kind of introduction to the book or something, but it's just its own little piece. So he has a lot of strategies that he uses over and over that I think build a really interesting picture. It's a very like kaleidoscope. It's like the covers. It's just all of this stuff. Which, if you're talking about the American mythology, it's like the melting pot, and his stories have that melting pot sensibility and how they're constructed, like from a formal standpoint. So I really appreciate that. His art's obviously great, very detailed stuff. It reminds me of like Brian Boland or Chris Weston when he's being inked by Gary Erskine, but with a lot more, there's no color going on it, so he's relying a lot more on the cross-hatching to fill it in. My biggest disappointment with all of the Tim Lane work that I've got so far is, and I'm really surprised because normally I'm really, really happy with Fantagraphics Productions. I think he's just gone too small for the people at Fantagraphics to know what to do with it. And, having worked with Sean and going probably even smaller than this, or at least as small, maybe even smaller than this on Strange Death of Alex Raymond, and having seen those details come out and knowing it can be done and just developing that eagle eye that we're talking about on the channel a lot, it's really a bummer to see that the integrity of his art falls apart. It looks like I can see the half toning or something, like the lines, just the finest lines don't hold up. And he's obviously spending a lot of time on his teeny tiny lines, and it's a bit of a bummer to see the production not hold up. The production holds up better in places and worse in others, so I don't know if that's the material he's providing or what, but yeah, I mean, when you view the page from a distance, it just creates the grays that it need to. And I don't think anyone but me and Sean would probably notice. But there's stuff like this where details seem to me to be obviously getting lost. So that's my biggest disappointment. It's surprising to me because Fantagraphics is obviously always the highest quality stuff. But I really enjoy all of the way he constructs things. These books are largely focused on the actor Steve McQueen, and I'm assuming Volume 1 was as well. It's a name I know, but it's not someone I'm really familiar with. And the books treat it as if this Steve McQueen is somebody that we should all just know in the same way that we know Elvis and Clint Eastwood. And, I don't know. Like, it's strange to me why he obsesses about Steve McQueen so much. But there's these little vignettes and Kid McQueen. Maybe I'm just not enough into movies or something. I don't know. I feel like if Steve McQueen was this icon of masculinity on the same level as, like, in this issue too, there's a series of like other people that have the same status as Steve McQueen that you could collect these dolls, and it's like Elvis, Muhammad Ali, Bruce Lee, Shaft, Clint Eastwood, Evil Knievel, like household names, all of them. I know all of them. I know what they've done. I know what they're about. Steve McQueen, I have no freaking clue. I don't think I've ever seen any of his movies, or if I did, I have no idea. So it's weird to me that he's like focusing on Steve McQueen, and he's talking about Steve McQueen went missing. Like, I don't know anything about that. I've never heard about that. I don't know if that's fictional or if that's real. Um, Maybe people like 20 years older than me, 10 years older than me, that's common knowledge, but not in the way that all these characters are for me. So I find that weird. Maybe that's why he picked Steve McQueen, is he's right on the outskirt of this, so he can have a little more leeway with the story he's telling, like he can fictionalize a little bit more. I don't know. I find that weird, but it doesn't really matter to me, like if it's made up or if it's real. It's just, it's like the stories work. They build that kaleidoscope of America. Like I love driving across the country. I've done it a number of times, and I mean this stuff. It just feels so real. Like these funky hotels and the oil rigs and the windmills and like all of that feels so good. I don't consider myself like this American rebel on the roadways, hopping trains and stuff, but I do get the wanderlust, and maybe that's why I appreciate this. It still feels right. Like, I mean, this is so right to me. I really like this story in this issue where Tim Lane is obviously going back, um, and not doing digitally, but he's painting on vellum or something, and he's painting this second layer of colors, and it looks like a third layer as well, and probably doing that in black ink and then using that to create the colors. It's a look I really like. It's a look I think I want to try and steal at some point. Like right here, it's not digital because he's getting the same type of fine cross hatching, and I think that looks really really good with his work. But again, the printing, it's just, man, like some of the details are lost. So I don't know if these files aren't separated where the black's like not on a different layer, so it's getting lost in the dots or what. But it's a real bummer because he spent so much time and so much precision. This is also strange too, because I don't know if this is Steve McQueen who went missing in the 70s and he's got a cell phone. Like the rules just don't seem to apply here. It seems to be all just mood matters more than logic or total story, and I like that. That really works for me. And like I said, I'm not a big Americana guy, even though I've driven across the country a million times. Not a million, but I've driven back and forth a lot. Um, I don't know. It's just not something I've ever associated myself with. But he does a great job capturing it. He, he's also very interested in information, historical information. But Tim Lane always comes up with interesting ways to embed that into designs. They can get real busy and be overwhelming. Like, I don't want to necessarily read all of this, but I'm always inclined to do it with his work for some reason. I think because he puts them into these interesting designs here. You know, this is like a little plastic instructions for a plastic kit that you're supposed to put together. But then over here, there's like factoids about the movie The Great Escape, which maybe it's because I didn't have a TV growing up. It seems like he's talking about everyone seeing The Great Escape on afternoon TV. Like, I never did, but I didn't have a TV. So I don't know. Maybe that's why I don't get it. One thing that I really like about the production here, and I don't know if this was like a real thing, but he did a real good job faking the aging of this. Like, there's all these folds in it, and something that I really appreciated is that they faked really bad production on this, and in this case it works. So you can see like it was on flimsy paper and they scanned it, and you can see the image through the other side. That's super intentional. That's not accidental. That's really good production, capturing the look of bad production, and I really appreciate that. So there's a lot of work that goes into pulling this off, from a design and production standpoint that's really, really impressive. And, it's just that thing about them not being able to fully capture the intricacy of his art that's a bit of a bummer given how good everything else is. And then this one ends with, I don't even know if it's a Steve McQueen story, but there's like this little, and this is where I kind of associate him with like Charles Burns as well, but like way more detailed, but that same kind of horror vibe, stark contrast as Charles Burns. It's like strip out all the cross hatching and realistic it up a little bit, and you've got Tim Lane, or you strip out the cross hatching and cartoonify it a bit, and you've got Charles Burns. So I really like that. I like the vibe that he gets. I'm really, as I've been digging into this Tim Lane stuff, really admiring it and thinking about it a lot. Hopefully I'll be getting the rest of these or a collection of these and any other work that he's had. So highly recommend this. If you get these books and you have some spare money and you want to see why I'm complaining about the line work, go grab yourself a copy of Strange Death of Alex Raymond and get out your little magnifying glass or cross your eyes and look real close and look at the teeny tiny cross hatching that Dave and detailing that Dave and I did in this book, and look at the production quality that Sean was able to capture. I mean, you'll see why I appreciate working with Sean. The integrity of the line compared to what's going on in all of the Tim Lane work. Sometime at some point it would be great to steal Tim Lane over from Fantagraphics and give him some production like this, like go buy Strange with Alex Raymond, flip to page 225 and look at the cross hatching there, and then compare to what was in any of the Tim Lane productions by Fantagraphics, and I think that you'll see why this stuff bothers me now, why I notice it. But other than that, amazing work. I the production stuff aside, I still think you should absolutely go get it. Thanks for following along, guys. Take it away, Jack.